Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes, good afternoon.
Well, welcome.
Shakil, good afternoon.
Well, let me start off. This is the Minara Chamber of Commerce, together with the Mauritius High Commission in Pretoria and the Investment Board, on a seminar regarding investment in Mauritius. Now, for many of us that have joined the platform, Mauritius is a fascinating island nation that has shown how countries and economies can pivot. If we go back a slight bit in modern history, Mauritius was an agricultural-based economy with a large sugarcane industry. And in the late 80s and early 90s, it pivoted away from the sugarcane industry into clothing and textile and became one of the foremost producers of branded clothing across the globe. Not to remain complacent in it as the global economy changed, Mauritius once again pivoted and entered into the financial sphere, positioning itself as a premier offshore destination. And it has remained so for many, many years, and has become a very attractive investment opportunity for many individuals, including South Africans, who are looking for close-by havens in which to invest not just their business, but headquarter to their businesses as well. We're joined this afternoon by Dr. Prega Ramsamy, who is the Economic Counselor for the Mauritius High Commission in Pretoria. We've been chatting a few minutes ago, and he's occupied some very key strategic and leadership positions, especially in the field of economics, including being the Executive Secretary of the SADC. He was a Special Economic Advisor to the State President of Madagascar and was previously CEO of the Economic Development Board of Madagascar. So he holds a great deal of influence and a great deal of experience. And in his present position as the Economic Counselor for Africa for the government of Mauritius, Dr. Ramsamy plays a very strategic and pivotal role in economic diplomacy to promote Mauritius as a hub and a destination for trade and investment and financial services. Well, Dr. Prega Ramsamy, welcome to this afternoon's seminar, and I give you the opportunity to say your introductory remarks.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Good afternoon to everybody. And I would like to start by expressing my words of welcome to all participants and speakers. I hope that this first engagement with the Minara Chamber of Commerce will pave the way for further engagements so that together the Minara Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Board can unlock the numerous potential that exist between South Africa and Mauritius in terms of trade and investment. As you've mentioned, Chair, doing business in Mauritius is both simple and smooth. It is compliant with international norms in terms of transparency, governance, and ethics. And I've got to mention that the institution that is responsible to ensure that Mauritius remains an internationally compliant, attractive, and competitive business hub is the Economic Development Board of Mauritius, which operates under the aegis of the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning, and Development. To maintain proximity with our main markets, the government of Mauritius, through the Economic Development Board, has established a number of overseas offices, and South Africa being one of them. So the objective of these offices is to promote Mauritius as an investment, trade, and financial services hub, not only for Africa, but for Asia and for the rest of the world. And South Africa is one of our main markets, as you know. These officers, they work in close collaboration with the directorates at the Economic Development Board. Having mentioned directorates, I have the pleasure now to introduce two directors who will be addressing us this afternoon. First is Mr. Girish Bhaktavan Singh, who leads the Manufacturing Directorate of the EDB. He has under his supervision welcome Girish. He has under his supervision a number of portfolios such as textile and apparel, seafood, agro-processing, light engineering, pharmaceuticals, and medical devices. He's got a huge portfolio. And Shakil, I wish you good luck maintaining and directing all these portfolios. He has led a number of delegations, even trade and investment delegations in Asia, Europe, and South Africa, to sell the merits of Mauritius as a preferred destination for trade and investment. And the next speaker is Mr. Sachin Mohabir, who is leading the Directorate on Real Estate and Hospitality. Sachin has been at the forefront of setting up various property schemes in Mauritius, such as the Property Development Scheme, the Smart City Scheme. He has also facilitated the development of several mega real estate and hotel projects and providing advice to other startup companies in project structuring, implementation, and development. He is currently overseeing the development of several smart city projects in Mauritius. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Girish to address this gathering. Girish, over to you, please.
Thank you, Prega, for the introduction. To the President and members of Minara Chamber of Commerce, I know now, following the Eid, I'll tell to all of you, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you also to Mr. Patel for the opportunity that you are giving us to explain about Mauritius and what are the opportunities that are there in Mauritius for trade and investment. In fact, we are very pleased when we have to talk about business with our South African neighbors with whom we share a number of values. I'll switch to a power presentation that will enable you also to follow, okay? To follow about Mauritius. I guess everybody has a look at, this is being shared, Prega, you can see it? Okay, it's good. So why Mauritius, why we are positioning Mauritius as a destination for trade and investment? And it's important that I explain since the outset itself, it's not about telling what we can sell from Mauritius or what we can buy from Mauritius. We are positioning ourselves as partners, and partners in that particular context, how we can build alliance to conquer even more bigger markets in this context of new scenario happening in the world. Mauritius is actually not only a destination for touristic resorts, and one should know that if Mauritius throughout that 50 years plus of independence, we have been able to develop a particular industry, as I lead the Industry at Economic Development Board, on the basis that we have tried to adhere to norm and focus on the processes. We have been engaging ourselves in the transformation, knowing that we don't have resources, we have to import the raw materials and all. We have been focusing on that and taking advantage of this diverse population, speaking many languages, belonging to many religions, many cultures, taking advantage of the position where we are in terms of the time zone, and taking advantage also with a number of preferential agreements that we are reaching with so many countries throughout the world. And in fact, this spirit, this mindset has enabled Mauritius to move from a monocrop economy in 1968, developing a number of poles, manufacturing, finance, tourism, ocean economy, to move and grow its GDP, growing its GDP to even further, having a certain ambition as a small island of Africa to do well and obviously to grow. It's important for me to stress that in all these sectors that is contributing to the GDP of Mauritius, the manufacturing remains an important composition of the GDP with a contribution of 12.4%. In fact, If we have been able to move up to here, it's because of the focus we have been putting in terms of the indexes that we need to add. Mauritius being small have been far from the main export market of yesterday, which was Europe. So we had to adhere to a number of norms that get our project to be accepted there. So we have been making this in our DNA. And that's why it's not a coincidence when you build out of it, especially that we are engaged in the transformations. So we are putting a lot of emphasis, and we have been able, to work to be fast on the Mori Grime Index. We are being able to be enough global competitive, and even, reach at times, with the support of everybody, support also of external specialists to come out and to be 13 in the World Bank Ease of Doing Business. So this spirit that is prevailing in Mauritius, it prevails in a critical environment, which is very important. And an environment Mauritius has been throughout since independence of 1968, a democratic country, a country ruled by law, a certain stability has been prevailed, the free education has enabled an educated graduate to come forwards, and all this have helped to build that necessary ecosystem that make Mauritius also an attractive place for investors.
Mr. Girish, if I might interrupt, can you move closer to your mic because we seem to be losing your audio?
Okay, are you getting me right now?
Much better now.
Okay, I'll move the audio a bit closer to me. So I may continue with your permission, sir. Okay, I continue. So Mauritius with South Africa, we have got a long relationship, a very important relationship, a relationship based on history, political, economic, and today we are doing business with South Africa, which is our fast trading partner in Africa. But it's good to know, despite our textile have been there for the last 50 years, we have made South Africa one of our main export markets. And we don't only export with South Africa, we import with South Africa. In the current context prevailing, we do encourage that we have more business with Africa, more intra-trade. So in fact, we import even much more from South Africa than we export. But what I want to say is, from the perspective of Mauritians, when we walk around the malls, when we walk in the waterfront, that feeling of South Africa are present. Mauritians who go and purchase their food at Food Lovers, who dress at Woolworths, who eat at Nando's, who eat at Spurs, and so many businesses of South Africa were already present. So it's formed part in our daily living, which is very relevant for us. And in fact, the export that we have been doing now since a long time from Mauritius, the export of apparels, export of sugars, export of confectionery, or even the import that we are doing there. But what's important is that the relationship is even more closer with now having a small community of South Africans who are already present here, and even a number of South Africans enjoying their occupational permits and taking advantage of both Mauritius as a place also for pleasure and a place for doing business. But Mauritius being small, the way we look at things is important. We are small, yes. We don't have a big local market, but thanks to our preferential market access that we have been negotiating, that we have taken advantage, enable us, of course, to sell to Europe's duty-free, to sell to USA through the AGOA, to sell to Africa with the different agreements that we have in COMESA and SADC, but the preferential entry that we keep negotiating. And the last being the FTA with China and the CEPCA with India, that give us a certain preferential entry on this market that we want to take big advantage. We also enjoy the PTA with Pakistan, the FTA with Turkey. And right now, the strategy of EDB, like Prega put it, EDB being probably the most important government agency of Mauritius, which is engaged in the promotion of trade, business, investment, partnership, which is engaged in the strategic planning also of the country. So we are focusing with the existing product that we are having. We have gone a certain way. We have gone a certain long way. Our textile is known now, textile apparel to Europe. We are dressing the football teams. We are dressing through Barber the royal family. We are manufacturing sunglasses going to USA. We are cutting and polishing diamonds. We are even having protective lenses that are being manufactured here for the French security. We are even developing a number of products for the medical device, catheter, etc. And we even assemble the TV that we sell to Kenya. So we want to accelerate this growth. We want to diversify to more products, the pharmaceuticals, the medicals, etc. And we want to innovate and get the necessary technology to come to Mauritius. Access to a big market is fine, but Mauritius, we need partnership to go and conquer this market. And the best partners for us is our neighbors with whom we share a number of values. Rainbow nations, we're equally known as an island and equally known as South Africa. We know each other. We have been working shoulder to shoulder on many occasions, and hence the opportunity for us to strengthen that partnership and develop more trade business opportunity. And the Mauritius of tomorrow, what we are looking for. Well, Mauritius of tomorrow is having a diverse setup of industry, be it in the manufacturing, be it in the construction, tourism, logistics, and all. We are expanding to be a very much diversified economy. So that's why when we're talking about opportunities, and I want now to be more focused when we are talking opportunities, what we are talking about. When we say textile and apparel, we have been in this industry since the basic 1970s and now doing the medium end a bit slightly higher. And what we want to do is to go even higher. The type of partnership we are looking, why can't we, one company started it, growing the cotton in Madagascar, developing it in the fabric and selling it back to Africa. Why we can't do that more in Mauritius with more companies and supply the South African market? Why we can't go ahead with the technical textile? Because the demand of the new customers emerging will be different. What about the new products that we want to develop in Mauritius for the different categories of middle class emerging on the African market? And why not for the high end, for the European market that we have been serving already since a very long time? For the medical devices are concerned, we are ambitious to be like a focal point for the manufacture of medical devices. We are already manufacturing a number of products, be it, in terms of catheter, be it in terms of bone substitution, opticals, artificial teeth, and so many things. But we don't have, when we arrive from South Africa, they are themselves at times importing it from Ireland. We want to develop this industry even further. And this goes even for pharmaceutical, jewelry, seafood. There are a number of opportunities that goes on because to serve that growing markets of Africa, we need to be manufacturing generic medicine at a competitive cost, getting the technology necessary to be able to manufacture the best product at the most competitive price, and South Africa is quite advanced in it. And of course, join hands in that partnership to see beyond the borders of Mauritius, beyond the borders of South Africa, beyond our traditional clients that we have been looking for. And this is possible when like-minded countries like us, like-minded businessmen like us, work together and see in the same direction. And that's why the government has come with a number of incentives, which is very relevant when you realize no import duties in Mauritius, no export duties in Mauritius. We have a 3% corporate tax on profit derived from export only, even an 8-year income tax holiday. So a number of incentives being given in order to attract the necessary partners who wish to use Mauritius as a base in view to conquer, in view to grow, in view to succeed more, because no business can stay stagnant. We all know that change is constant, and to adapt to the different opportunities that are coming our way. This is very, very important. And in fact, we're going even further. From Mauritius, we are knowing that at the moment, the question of time delivery is of utmost importance. And the government has come with a special air freight refund scheme where we are refunding 60% on the basic air freight cost for a number of products and markets that we look to target. Africa, Middle East, even countries like Australia. And this applies also when I'm talking about Africa, in our quest to get Africa to serve Africa, in our quest to have more intra-trade among African players. So there is a freight rebate scheme, a refund of 25% on basic air freight costs for a number of ports, 48 ports, in 20 countries of Africa. With Africa, when the businesses grow, together we grow with our African counterparts. So this is very relevant in this particular context when every day the leaders are talking about more partnership for intra-trade, especially that we have a lot of raw materials in Africa, but the transformation is being done somewhere else. For how long our yarn will be coming from here, our cotton will be coming from here, but the manufacturing of the brand will be basically from Europe. For how long the cocoa will be cultivated from here, but the chocolate will be Switzerland. So we need to have this sort of partnership. We need to join hands, and we need to be having certain ambitions or where we want to position the continent through our incentive that we'll be doing in our businesses in our respective countries. And I believe both South Africa and Mauritius can lead the way. It's good to mention that Mauritius doing business with South Africa, like I said, it's a partnership. We are importing, we are exporting. And just to give an idea about the products that we're also exporting, a wide range of products from South Africa, be it the gas oil, medicine, lubricating oils, be it the telephone, be it the coal, a number of things. And whereas Mauritius' basic export to South Africa is more than 75% goes to textile and apparel. So that's why in the ecosystem that we have in Mauritius, we want to move to another level. We want to have this sort of manufacturing being done in Mauritius, which make more sense, not only for textile. When we take from the light engineering, there's so many things, the technologies available in South Africa with regards to assembling and selling of a number of products, which is required in all the process or in our daily life, which could be done in Mauritius at a more competitive price, which could be done in a particular environment, which is quite stable, no power cut, with a particular environment that encourage that we use technology more and more in our manufacturing. And this also applies also when it comes to the land that we need to grow and process products. For how long Mauritius will be importing cat food from Europe, from Italy, canned tomatoes from Italy. We have lands with a low price of sugar being more and more available, and the exploitation of this land to the manufacturing of organic products, where in general Africa is not that strong, and we can develop that from the perspective of Mauritius. And it's also important that being a small island development state, we do lay emphasis on sustainability. We are vulnerable as small island development state. So the question of bio, the question of recycling, the question of having this sort of industry taking another giant leap is of certain relevancy. So that's why the potential for trade exists, the potential for business exists, the potential for manufacturing investment exists for a wide number of products that you can see from the PowerPoint that will be shared to you in a number of products that I can, in a broad sense, being calling it in the FMB, in the textile and apparel, in the light engineering, and all these industries, in the jewelry, where all these particular subsectors can be supported in our quest to grow and to develop further. I must say, Mauritius has always been a warm place, welcoming to foreigners, welcoming to tourists, because since 1970, we have developed an important industry, and South Africa has played an important role with many South Africans coming to Mauritius. So that's why the spirit of work, play, and live, the spirit of having a special art of living, to be happy in what you're doing, to contribute to advancement, to progress. We are very much, this included in our DNA. So the different package available, even for professional, to get their occupational permits, with a minimum salary, $1,500 US, or even the investor having a minimum investment, will get the opportunity, of course, to get the occupational permit to work, play, and live in Mauritius. This is also very important. You walk along the beaches, you have the business in the industrial zone, you are exporting to a number of countries that you are reaching out, and more important at the end of the day, you work, you play, and you live happily. This is very important. So that's why in that context, I believe that Mauritius and South Africa can have an important partnership. I say that Mauritius and South Africa can have similar goals when it comes to growing our business, and that's why Mauritius posed itself to say, yes, we are a partner, and why not your preferred partner for trade and investment. Thank you very much.
Merci, Mr. Girish. That was a very informative analysis of the opportunities and the prospects for Mauritius. It was quite interesting to understand the opportunities, and especially the fact that, which is quite interesting, is that Mauritius would pay for the air freight, which very few other countries have embarked on. May I ask Dr. Prega to continue introducing the next speaker. What I would suggest is that if there are any questions from our participants, they can either raise their hand or post the question, or we'll leave the question for the Q&A session towards the end of the program. Dr. Prega, may I hand over to you?
Prega, you're muted.
Well, while we wait for Dr. Prega, maybe I could assist in just introducing the next speaker is Mr. Sachin Mohabir, who is from Tourism Mauritius, and he would be speaking about, of course, we all know that Mauritius is such a beautiful island. Number of us have been on holiday to Mauritius, we've seen the sights and sounds of Mauritius, but he'd be able to tell us a lot more about what I presented. Mr. Sachin?
Yeah. Thank you. So it's great pleasure I'm among you for this webinar today, planned by the Minera Chamber of Commerce. My presentation will focus on the tourism sector in Mauritius and the opportunities the sector still offers, the measures introduced to attract long-stay tourism in the country, and the opportunities for South African nationalities to invest and acquire luxurious residential properties, villas, apartments that are located in Mauritius. So why Mauritius is so attractive for retirees and non-citizens? It is not just because it is a tropical island, and like many tropical islands, it is lush green, has colorful vegetation throughout the year, but also because investment and business climate has been made easier. You can decide to come to Mauritius at any time when the borders are open, and you will be sure to have a comfortable weather during your stay, a luxury villa or an apartment to buy, and a very good healthcare system. The Mauritian government is promoting openness. We want to attract more foreign investors, talents, know-how, and retirees. So about the tourism sector, the COVID-19 pandemic has and is an unprecedented event that has put paid to almost every plan or projection. The pandemic has stricken the tourism industry severely. COVID-19 has forced the closure of our borders to visitors, suspension of commercial flights, and halted all the activities related to the tourism industry. The brand image of the destination has been affected, as Mauritius has responded remarkably well towards COVID-19 during the course of 2020 and enjoy a COVID-free status for more than 6 months, which allowed the local population to return partly to their habits prior to the pandemic. Let's see about the tourism sector in figures. In Mauritius, tourism made up to 9.2% of the GDP, generated some 1 billion as direct value added and some 2 billion USD as foreign earnings, while providing direct and indirect employment to more than 80,000 people. Today, the industry and its subsectors are an important growth engine that is strongly contribute to the economic development. Mauritius is predominantly a holiday destination for beach resort focused on tourists, as you well know. It possesses a wide range of natural attraction, enjoys subtropical climate with clear warm sea, waters, attractive beaches, tropical fauna and flora, and we welcome visitors to the country. And when we see in terms of the arrivals, in 2019, we have to subtract the 2020 figures. In 2019, Mauritius attracted 1.4 million tourists, and the vision is to reach 2 million tourists by 2030. This means that Mauritius needs more accommodation facilities. We need to have more investors looking to develop accommodation facilities, to develop hotels, to develop entertainment facilities, thus creating opportunities to develop hotels, theme park, entertainment centers, cultural tourism, ecotourism, health tourism. So these facilities are being made available, and different hotel sites also are being developed with the different stakeholders in Mauritius. Europe remains the largest source destination in Mauritius, but Africa is the second largest source region, accounting for 22% of the arrivals. And our key markets in Africa, we have Reunion Island and South Africa, which saw in 2019 14% growth in arrivals. In terms of the tourism sector, it's important to note that the seasonality. The tourism sector experiences major fluctuation. Mainly, we have the peak season in March, July, October, and December, and the average length of stay is approximately 10.4 nights. And the strategy today with COVID-19 is how we can attract long-stay tourism by bringing in people to stay for 6 months or even 12 months under a new premium visa that has been introduced. In terms of air connectivity, the airport of Mauritius, the international airport of Mauritius, is serviced by some 20 international airlines and has direct flights to 32 cities across Africa, Asia, and Europe. In terms of competition, I will just share all the slides to you, but in terms of competition, the hotels in Mauritius are classified into 3 main categories according to star rating. So anyone coming to invest in Mauritius, you can either go into the premium segment, the mid-market segment, or the budget segment. And we have a number of hotel companies present in Mauritius, international global operators, like the Intercontinental Hotels, the Marriott Hotel, Hilton, Accor, the Oberoi, one and only, the Outrigger. And we want to attract more and more brands, international brands in Mauritius, as we plan to attract more tourism from emerging markets. Actually, the strategy, if you want to attract some 2 million tourists, it means we need to have an additional 600,000 tourists. And for this to happen, we need to have more people traveling from India, from South Africa, from the Middle East, and from Russia, once the borders are open and it's safe to travel. In terms of Mauritius, as Girish just mentioned, Mauritius will have a competitive platform to do business. It's easier to start up a business. Actually, you can incorporate your company within 2 hours. And when you incorporate your company, there is no minimum capital requirement. For 100% foreign ownership is possible. There is no need for you to have any Mauritian shareholder in your company. And you just need to have a director in the company who is resident in Mauritius. You can have a South African director in Mauritius, but the only thing is he has to have a residence permit or an occupation permit. In terms of taxation, we have a tax rate of 15% with a number of incentives provided, like corporate tax, holiday for 8 years, a number of schemes, and also 3% tax for export-oriented enterprises, just like Girish mentioned. Personal income tax is at 15%, and we have no capital gains tax, no inheritance tax whenever you transfer your property. Non-citizen may acquire property in Mauritius. So if you come as a business player, you can acquire property in your own name or in the name of a company, and the property can either be freehold or leasehold with government. And the good thing is the Constitution of Mauritius will protect property rights. So whenever you acquire property in Mauritius, you have full right on your property for so long as you wish to own your property. And occupation permit are provided for a period of 10 years, and the permanent residence permit has been extended, so the duration is 20 years. And there are a number of qualifying criteria. If you invest in a qualifying activity and your investment is above 375,000 USD, you are provided with a permanent residence permit, and the permanent residence permit, as I said, will be granted for a period of 20 years to you with spouse and dependent below the age of 24. And there is no exchange control in Mauritius, free movement of capital. You can bring back your revenue generated in Mauritius. And when we talk about the different the tax-free dividend, no capital gains tax, foreign ownership, all these today you may enjoy when investing in different sectors in Mauritius. Just to touch base about the real estate in Mauritius, it's one of the sectors where we have many South African investors who have invested either in the development of residential properties, or they have invested in the acquisition of a second home, or they stay here permanently, just like an investment in an asset class. So Mauritius today offers property investors with a golden opportunity to tap into a well-established luxury and property market. You may acquire a villa, you may acquire an apartment, or any asset class that are developed in various projects that are being developed over the island. And these high-class leisure amenities and facilities would include a golf course, marina, nautical facilities. You may have healthcare facilities, all developed within the compound. And all these developments, they provide security services, maintenance, gardening, solid waste disposal, household services. And several smart city projects are also being developed over the island. Actually, we have 12 smart cities that have been approved by the Economic Development Board. The whole idea is to make the whole island of Mauritius a smart island, smart Mauritius, with the development of greenfield sites as smart cities, and also an urban regeneration program to upgrade all the smart cities. So if you come to Mauritius and you want to invest in a particular activity in manufacturing, in healthcare, be it in tourism or office development, you may go and acquire property and develop within those smart cities that provide the work, live, and play environment, and all facilities are located within. As non-citizen also, you may acquire property in Mauritius, and all these properties are freehold properties. So you may acquire property for your own residence, or as a second home, or for investment purpose. The properties are sold off plan. You can acquire it after construction also, and you may acquire all these properties either on your own name, or you may have a special purpose vehicle, be it a trust, a company, it could be a foundation, or it could be a foreign company registered in Mauritius. And on acquisition of these properties, you are provided with a residence permit if the price, if your investment is above 375,000 USD. And the residence permit is granted to the family and next of kin, the kids below the age of 24, and the spouse or even parents. On acquisition of all these properties, you pay a registration duty, which is 5%, and it's one-off payment, 5% of the value of property, one-off payment, and you become owner of that property. You may sell your property, but on sale of the property, you lose your residency. Non-citizen may also acquire high-rise apartment located in building above the ground plus 2. So any ground plus 2 building, you may acquire an apartment in Mauritius, and if the price is above 500,000 USD, you're even provided with a long stay visa. In terms of those who acquired properties in Mauritius, We see around 25% of the people, our buyers, are from South Africa, and we have many properties that are being also developed by South African developers. We have Two Futures, a major developer developing several projects in Mauritius. We have La Valise Marina, where we have South African investors, we have West Island Coast, and all these projects have been developed successfully. And we have buyers who reside in all those units throughout the year and have been granted residency in Mauritius. More than 4,000 units are already sold, and even when we are talking about the borders have been closed, we are still having buyers. Last year, we introduced a new visa, just like you have business visa and tourist visa. The government of Mauritius has introduced a premium visa, which is a visa to travel to Mauritius, and any non-citizen traveling to Mauritius under a visa, and a business visa, was provided 120 days maximum duration of his stay. Under a tourist visa, they were granted 180 days. If we wanted to attract long-stay tourism, and if you want to stay for more than 180 days and you don't want to apply for a residence permit or occupation permit, you may apply today for a premium visa. And the premium visa is granted for a period of 1 year. It is renewable, and it's granted to any tourist, to a retiree, to a professional, a digital nomad coming to Mauritius. You just need to go on the website of EDB, you may apply, and you get an e-visa for 1 year. The requirements are, firstly, you need to show that you have evidence of enough monthly income to sustain your living in Mauritius. Actually, adults have to show that they have at least 1,500 USD, and a child 500 USD to be eligible to get a premium visa. And you need to have an insurance cover, a medical insurance cover for your initial period of stay in Mauritius. All visitors in a premium visa, you need to follow all the health protocol in place, that of going for a 14-day quarantine period. As for accommodation, the holder, once you have a premium visa, you can stay in a hotel or the accommodation in Mauritius. Children may also enroll in a private paid school. And the holder of a premium visa, most important of all, cannot enter the Mauritius labor market. The main place of income has to be outside Mauritius. And the taxation policy for premium visa, the holder of a premium visa is spending more than 183 days in Mauritius is subject to income tax. For money spent in Mauritius through foreign credit card or debit card, there is no tax. But income brought and deposited in a bank in Mauritius will be liable to tax, except if you have already paid your tax in your home country. Your money transferred to Mauritius will not be subject to income tax in Mauritius. In terms of benefit, I just mentioned all the benefit that you enjoy. And at the EDB, we are here to facilitate you in terms of your business, providing you with all the information, counseling information, and we are here to assist in setting up your business operation in Mauritius. As Girish mentioned, investment opportunities in Mauritius are diverse. There are many investment opportunities. Despite the global economic downturn, Mauritius has continued to attract a sizable investment in the country. And this demonstrates that the country has exhibited a fair level of resistance and resilience to acute external shocks, which highlight the general relevance of long-standing economic strategies and the effectiveness of the recent reform programs. All these are a result of the achievement in terms of new sector development, the diversified economy, infrastructure bolstering program, improvement in the business climate, in the environment, in the way we facilitate investors. All these have helped to sustain economic growth while ensuring that we are able to also bring in more economic operators. We have put in place the right condition. We are providing occupation permit, residence permit. So we invite you to come to invest in Mauritius, and the EDB is here to support your ventures. Mauritius welcomes investment. The EDB, the government of Mauritius, we are here to facilitate your investment. We will share all the information. If ever you have any query, you may also email to us, and we'll be glad to reply to you, to assist in your any investment decision to Mauritius. Thank you.
Merci, Sachin. Thank you very much for that in-depth analysis. I think it has created a great deal of thought in terms of the processes and the opportunities that are available to South Africans looking to invest in the tourism sector, but also at the same time who are looking at the option of residency in Mauritius. Let me open the floor for questions, if there are questions from the participants. If we can just get a show, or if you want to ask your question directly, please. Are there no questions?
Chairman? Chairman?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Chairman, this is Bashir Adam. I did post a question in the chat group, but
yes, please ask it.
To the speakers. So are there any thoughts currently being given by the Mauritius authorities to any schemes like citizenship through investment, as is the case in many European destinations?
Yes, you know, when you invest in Mauritius, already we have the Mauritius Citizenship Act. And as a Mauritius Citizenship Act, if you invest more than 500,000 USD after 2 years, you're eligible to apply to the Prime Minister's office for citizenship. Second, as a Commonwealth citizen, after having stayed for 4 years in Mauritius, in the 5th year, you may apply for Mauritian citizenship. So citizenship by investment above 500,000 USD, it's possible, but it's at the discretion of the Prime Minister. Now, in terms of, we have to wait for the budget. We have a budget coming in the next 2-3 weeks, so we have to wait for that. We cannot share confidential information, but we already have residency by investment. You invest more than 500,000 USD, more than 375,000 USD, you get permanent residence permit for 20 years. You may acquire property, you benefit a number of incentives. So all these are already being provided. You may acquire a residential property. So we have various programs already available.
Thank you, Sachin. Much appreciated.
Very good question there, Bashir. And, are there any other questions? I think about investments and the sense of Mauritius as a destination. To me, there would be two important questions, and that is, given the current scenario that we have with the pandemic, what is Mauritius' timeline towards opening up once again, number one? And secondly is, in terms of the general economy of Mauritius, how has it fared during this period, and what are the recovery plans?
So in terms of opening of borders, just to tell you that there is a committee that Cabinet has put into place. looking at strategies to open the borders, what are the protocols that we need to put into place, and the Economic Development Board, we form part in that committee. There are several subcommittees at destination marketing for tourism. We are looking at the protocols and also air connectivity. Now, in terms of the thinking, we are looking that we need to open, we have to open the borders. Tourism is very important for the economy. It accounts, as I said, 10% to GDP, but direct and induced contribution of the tourism sector is 20 to 25%. So that's very important. In terms of the opening of borders, there are several dates, but we have to wait for government to announce the date. We want to capitalize. I just said that we have the high season, the peak season is starting from October, so we need to capitalize. We need to ensure that we're able to attract people, but all depends on the global scenario, how the pandemic is faring, and all the protocol we put into place, the vaccination that we will have. It has already started. We need to get the herd immunity, achieving 60 to 70% of the population vaccinated. That's in terms of the opening of borders, but discussions are being held. And the second, in terms of the economy contracted by around 14%, 14.9% last year. And this year, as per the different forecasts, World Bank, the IMF, we are expecting the economy to grow by more than 5% this year. And in terms of investment in other sectors, we are not seeing a drastic fall or projects being abandoned. The projects that have started, they are continuing. The only issue that we are having is we are unable to travel and people are unable to come to Mauritius to sign the deeds or to finalize the investment. Girish, you want to add anything?
Yes. Thank you, Sachin. Just to add to what Sachin has been saying, first, with regard to the gradual opening of borders, so Mauritius is being cautious also for the opening of borders, but it is ensuring side by side the vaccination of the people, of the population, so that when there's opening of borders, we don't find that we have to close again. So this is very important. But coming to business, it's important to know that despite that we have closed the border, the manufacturing is still resilient and be a contributor when it comes to our foreign currency in Mauritius. So we have been able to operate our manufacturing, not 100%, 50%. And even we have noticed that at least one subcategory, medical devices, we have found that the export has been growing on that. So the setup has been such that we have to ensure the manufacturing to operate, obviously at 50% or less, but to keep on with that spirit of standing also by our customers worldwide. So, and this has been well received by our different customers throughout different countries, where we have positioned ourselves as a partner even in that difficult time. So now with the opening of borders, we hope to be able, in the forthcoming month when the borders open, to start doing business full swing. Now we have to also take into consideration that the flights coming from different destinations, we have to go through Dubai, we have to go via other places in order to reach out for the client. So the spirit is here from the manufacturing sector, and obviously how things, grow better, we'll be in a better position to serve our clients.
If I might ask Girish an add-on question to that. Mauritius has ratified the Africa Free Trade Agreement together with the other African countries and been part of the SADC region. But at the same time, Mauritius has also signed the tripartite agreement, the EPA with the UK, with Seychelles and Zimbabwe, which gives it duty-free access into the UK market. How does that help with manufacturers based now in Mauritius? Does that give you a far wider entrance into the market?
Yes, following the Brexit, UK has been always a very important market for us. And we could not, at any moment ignore the places where we are being so many clients that we have been serving since a long time. And in fact, a big portion of our exports goes to UK. So being a small country, a small economy, our point was to strengthen our relationship with UK, with United Kingdom. And on the other hand, Mauritius, being an African country, was looking also to strengthen that spirit of intra-trade. We have been one of the countries pushing forward that concept of made through Africa. So in that spirit, we need to engage ourselves with other African countries. And even we have gone further. We have had agreement with China, we have had agreement with India, and all that in our strategy to position Mauritius as a strategic hub in that particular region of Indian Ocean. So this has been very, very important for us, because doing business with UK is very important, and even we are looking, to strengthen that relationship in that period of COVID and post-COVID.
Thank you very much, Girish. Does anybody have any other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, and we have almost reached our allotted time, I would like to thank Dr. Prega from the High Commission, the Economic Counselor at the High Commission in Pretoria, Girish from the EDB, and Sachin, who have given us a fantastic overview of the opportunities that present themselves in Mauritius. And as the Minara Chamber of Commerce, these are the kind of facilitations that we would do for our members and broaden the trade.
Sorry, we've lost you.
Yeah. Hello.
Mr. Patel, we've lost connection with you.
Yeah, I can see you. Hello.
While we are reconnecting, Mr. Patel, if there are any issues that you would like to raise with me in South Africa, please feel free. Any information that you want, contact us, and I'm your contact point in South Africa. So for any bilateral meetings, feel free to contact me. And if there are anything that I can't handle at the level of South Africa, I will refer to the headquarters in Mauritius through Shakir.
Okay, Dr. Prega, sorry, I think we've lost Ibrahim Patel. So on behalf of the Minara, we'd just like to thank all of you for coming on and assisting with this. And I think this is one of many, and I think we're going to do another event like this at a later stage with more hosts on it, and we can then take it further. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Girish. Thank you, Sachin.
All right, thank you, Girish. Thank you, Mr. Sachin. Right, I think we can take it from here. Thank you so much.